scrambled eggs from Frasier. First up, for the sort of TV accurate version, we're breaking 4 eggs into a bowl, getting a little cocky with our one-handed cracking, and retrieving shell fragments with shell itself. Then we're seasoning with a little bit of kosher salt, both for seasoning and so that when we beat it so hard it spills, the eggs will beat up extra smooth. Into a non-stick pan goes a little bit of butter, which we're going to melt until foamy. Add our eggs and basically just kind of slowly drag across the bottom of the pan with a rubber spatula, ensuring that when curds form, they're big and soft. Perfect basic scrambled eggs. Now I'm going to make a salad inspired by the insultingly gestural ones you get at brunch. Some greens and chopped tomatoes drizzled with olive oil and lemon juice. Of course, as I was doing this, I'm realizing that I didn't actually toss the salad, so we're going to go ahead and give that salad a little toss, plate it up, scatter it with tomatoes, and flank it with our fluffy scrambled eggs. Season those bad boys with a little bit more salt and freshly ground black pepper, and there you have it, tossed salad and scrambled eggs. And while this is certainly fine, as is so often the case on this show, I think we can do a whole lot better. To quote astronaut Mark Watney, I'm going to have to Frasier the shit out of this, measuring out 1.2 grams of sodium citrate and 0.3 grams of xanthan gum, which I'm going to sprinkle over 60 grams of 36-month-old Parmesan, ensuring even distribution. Give it a toss to evenly coat. Then we're measuring out 120 grams each milk and heavy cream in a medium saucepan. Bring it up to a bare sub-simmer. Kill the heat and add the cheese mixture. Then we're going to puree the whole mixture using a high-powered or immersion blender, creating a quick, smooth, relatively thin cheese sauce, which we're going to pour and filter into a whipped cream siphon. Charge with a nitrous cartridge and refrigerate until ready to use. This is going to make for a Parmesan espuma. It's like dense, heavy foam. Now every good salad needs croutons, and we're going to make kind of croutons, scooping the crustless guts out of half a loaf of pan rustico and pulsing in a food processor until we form some big, fluffy, webby crumbs. Sort of like a panko that's been slightly enlarged by the Honey I Shrunk the Kids laser. Break up any clumps, spread it out evenly on a rim baking sheet, and dry in a 200-degree Fahrenheit oven. Now on to my favorite salad dressing in the world. We're starting with the juice of half a lemon, about 30 grams, about 10 grams or 2 teaspoons of champagne vinegar, 40 grams or a third of a cup of extra virgin olive oil, a heaping teaspoon of Dijon mustard, 15 grams or about a tablespoon and a half of honey, 1 small shallot very finely minced, and 1 finely chopped anchovy fillet. Alternately, you could use 2 teaspoons of anchovy paste. We're also going to grate in half a very small clove of garlic, you don't want to overdo it, about a teaspoon of kosher salt, and half a teaspoon of ground white pepper. Go ahead and beat it until, once again, you make a mess, and what results is an unbelievably delicious vinaigrette, one that I might get sciencey with later on. For now, we got to prep the base of our salad, which is going to be a tomato mosaic. So I'm endeavoring to cut equally thick slices of multicolored tomatoes, which I'm going to lightly salt, let rest for 10 minutes, and then blot dry with paper towels to prevent color bleed. Now comes the matter of precision, something I'm historically very bad at. Cutting the tomatoes into perfect squares of exactly the same size, trying to keep some gel and seeds intact wherever possible. Then after what's going to feel like an hour, you've got some perfect square tomato jewels and perfectly good scraps for less snooty salads. Now using chef's tweezers, we're going to try to pick up a tomato and fail, just end up using our fingers, but pointing to the tomatoes with the tweezers, which really makes you feel like you know what you're doing. Then actually using the tweezers, I'm going to remove a couple random squares, replacing them with halved multicolored cherry tomatoes for a bit of playful variety. There you have it, the base for our salad. Next up, I want to make some balsamic vinegar pearls. So I'm thoroughly chilling 2 cups of canola oil. Once that's nice and frosty cold, I'm dissolving 2 grams of agar-agar in half a cup of vinegar with a 1/4 cup of water. Bring that to a simmer, let it cool slightly, pour into a dropper bottle while still warm, and gently drip some drops into the cold oil, which will immediately set the agar-agar, so we can then drain all the oil, gently rinse the pearls under cold running water, and keep them in a little bowl of water in the fridge until ready to use. As far as salad toppings go, I think these are frankly delightful. Next up, I want some toast soldiers for my scrambled egg. So I'm cutting some nice thick sticks out of the rest of that loaf of pan rustico, saving all the scraps for breadcrumbs. And this might be a bit shocking, but I'm gonna go ahead and deep fry this bread, bringing out the freaky side of toast that you didn't know was there. After less than a minute in 400-degree Fahrenheit oil, we're draining on a wire rack, sprinkling with salt and keeping warm until ready to serve. But we're not done frying bread yet. First, we have to toast our crouton-sized breadcrumbs in butter, sprinkling with kosher salt and freshly ground black pepper, frying until fried, pouring into a bowl. Then while it's still hot, we're grating on a little bit of Romano cheese, tossing after each addition. Then spread them out on a rim baking sheet to keep them crisp. And I told you I might get sciencey with my salad dressing, and I frankly wouldn't have said that if I wasn't going to do it. I'm combining 1 cup of dressing with 1 cup of water, then sprinkling with a few grams of soy lecithin powder. Not only is this a stabilizer that's going to give us an unbreakable creamy dressing, but when immersion blended, it forms a stable foam on top that can be used for foam stuff. Last but not least, we got the the eggs. I'm cracking 4 eggs into a tall container with a little pinch of salt and a little splash of water, and then immersion blending to get an ultra smooth, homogeneous curd. Now, during this process, I heard something go tink. Then, almost like magic, eggs started flowing out the bottom of my glass container, which confused my brain to a standstill for approximately 3 seconds. Come on now. Get it? There we go. This time trying again in a much thicker glass container. We're thoroughly pureeing the eggs, then passing them through a fine mesh sieve directly into a cold non-stick saucepan, to which we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter, and then starting to cook on absolute minimum heat while stirring constantly with a rubber spatula. This is going to very slowly set very fine curds, resulting in a French-style scrambled egg that almost resembles a custard, perfect for dipping in or pouring over our toast soldiers. I'm also going to add about 2 tablespoons of creme fraiche just to lighten things up, and with that, we're finally ready for service. I'm going to balance some tiny radicchio leaves on top of our tomato mosaic, and then drape them with our vinaigrette foam. I don't remember culinary foam ever being mentioned in Frasier, but I just have to imagine he loves it. We're topping that with some of our Romano breadcrumbs, dotting with Parmesan espuma, topping the espuma with our balsamic caviar, actually using some chef's tweezers properly with some micro basil, a few more breadcrumbs over top, and there you have it, my Frasierified tossed salad. Now for the eggs, I'm going to go with a sort of Lincoln log formation for our toast soldiers, and then I am perhaps foolishly pouring the eggs directly over top. No problem if you're just serving as is, but I need a platform for a big dollop of creme fraiche and a bigger dollop of actual caviar, Calvisius Siberian sturgeon to be precise. This guy really needs color, so I'm garnishing with finely chopped chives, looking pretty nice, and there you have it, tossed salad and scrambled